Is this thing on?
All right, let's get this show on the road.
Okay. Coffee and Carving Show, episode number 28, everybody. Woo! Yeah!
Oh, wow.
Oh, man.
That's making an entrance. Episode number 28.
Yay!
Hey, last week we had a guest.
Yeah,
People seem to like it.
they did.
We should do it again sometime.
100%. I'm down. It was a fun time.
Hey, two buddies were fishing and they hadn't caught anything all day long. Then another fisherman walks by with a huge load of fish. They ask him, "Excuse me, sir, but where'd you get all those fish?" He says, "If you just go downstream until the water isn't salty, there's a ton of fish there." So they thank them and they go on their way. 15 minutes later, the one fisherman says to the other, "Fill up the bucket of water and see if the water is salty." He dips his bucket in the stream and drinks some. Nope, still salty. So they carry on down the stream, and 30 minutes later, he asks him to check again. Nope, still salty, says the other. 1 hour later, as they're hiking down the trail, says, "Check again." And the fellow says, "Nope, still salty." "Well, this isn't good," the fisherman finally says. "We've been walking for almost 2 hours now, and the water is still salty." "I know," says the other, "and the bucket's almost empty."
What? Wait, the bucket is almost empty. Don't get it.
You don't get it?
Not connecting.
Because he filled the bucket on the first try. He's been carrying it and testing the water and drinking the water out of the bucket.
Oh, that's a terrible, disgusting.
No, it's because you're too slow. If you were quicker, it'd be funny.
No,
What are you drinking?
I'm the worst. I'm the worst sometimes with jokes. I overthought Vic's. Actually, funny story. I almost ruined Vic's joke, and maybe I did ruin it for some people. I'm not going to say how I ruined it in case you haven't listened to it yet, but yeah, listen to the last episode 27. I am drinking a new varietal from a very, very fancy coffee vendor called Costco. And it really is pretty fancy though. Costco has upped their coffee game. They have an organic Ethiopian light roast, which means that apparently my coffee friends say that you get more of the flavor out of a light roast. So it's tasty. It's good. I like it.
I don't know if I believe that. I always go for dark roast.
Yeah, I don't mind. I like dark roast too. So,
Well, I have a little red roaster, just freshly ground coffee, and I'm screwed for tonight, but I got my coffee.
both of us are screwed together.
We'll be up till 1 o'clock in the morning. Well, probably will be anyway, probably 2 o'clock.
Yeah. Well, didn't you have a new resolution?
I did, but I failed the first day.
You really?
I can't go to bed at night. Well, I'll get into it later, but yesterday I was going to try it for the first time. My idea was, since I get up so early in the morning, I should go to bed at night instead of sleeping for 5 hours. I should try and get like 7 hours or whatever. And I blew it the first night because I was all wound up with my little crafter's high of carving, and I just couldn't wind down till like 12:30. So
yeah.
It's just the way it is.
Yeah.
So gotta start earlier in the evening.
Sure.
So my wife has it down pat. She can she just kind of starts winding down at 9 o'clock and either sits down and reads or watches something on the TV or on her iPad and just winds down. But I'm always just trying to finish something or carve something or do something. But anyway, speaking of coffee, Our coffee heroes of the week are Tyler, Tabitha, Damien, Mr. Martin, and Anonymous. So big thanks to all those who hit that buy us a coffee button. We sure appreciate it.
Absolutely.
And on that note, what have you been up to?
Wow. Well, I wanted to say, speaking of tricks to fall asleep, one of the ladies that I stayed with in Missouri, this was in Pleasant Hill, said, before I go to sleep, I like to, I pull up solitaire on my phone and I play it until 2 games of that puts me right to sleep. And a light bulb flashed above my head. I thought, like, that is a perfect idea. Solitaire. It's the most boring card game ever. So I download Solitaire, and big surprise, I have totally forgotten how the game works, except for you go from low suit to high suit. So I don't remember anything else. So I'm sitting there. It kept me up an hour later than I would have been normally trying to figure out.
Yeah. I have never played solitaire in my life.
Yeah.
I have no clue about solitaire, but they say screen time is bad at bedtime.
Yes. Well,
but it's funny. Like when I finally go to bed, like it's time to go to bed, and sometimes I'll put my earbuds in and put on a podcast or a comedy radio or something.
Yeah.
I don't hear 20 seconds of it.
Really?
It's a waste of time putting the earbuds in, because I'm just fumbling around, pulling them out at 2:00 in the morning when I roll over and it's sticking them in my ear or whatever. And but I never hear it. When I finally lay down, I'm done.
Yes.
Unless I drank a coffee, and then I will fall asleep for about 20 minutes, and then I'll wake up, and then I'll be like out of it. But
well, part of the saga for me this past 2 weeks was staying with Marco, who is a really great guy, a good friend of mine. Probably one of the smartest guys I know. And the reason I'm saying all these nice things is because I'm about to complain about his snoring. It's very loud.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So no, Marco, if you're listening to this, but he already knows his snoring is very loud. And so I had to come up with ways of combating it. And one of those ways was putting my I have these little wireless, supposed to be noise canceling earbuds from Sony. They're old, but I put them in, and that's what would happen is I'd get some solace for a few hours, relative solace, because he would stay awake even with those, and he would stay awake until I fell asleep. But I found that I would wake up at 2 a.m. Same thing you say, 2 or 3 in the morning with these things uncomfortably in my ears. I'd pull them out, and then I couldn't get back to sleep because the volume of snoring was such that even with earplugs in, it reduced the sound, but it only brought it to the level of a normal person's snoring volume in my ears.
So here's what you do next time, because I just spent four days in a yurt with 4 guys.
Yep.
And I'm sure everybody snored. My cousin, we were unpacking the truck, and he pulled out this fan. I'm like, what do you bring it's winter. What are you going to do with the fan? He goes, you'll see.
Right.
And at bedtime, we turned this fan on for this low humming noise.
Yeah.
And then everybody could sleep. It was actually genius.
You know what? The night that the 3 nights, I slept really well. I didn't think this was going to be an issue the first 3 nights, because the place we stayed in had a fan, and Marco had it next to his head all the way on high. I fell asleep like that all 3 nights.
There you go.
I never really thought about that, but yeah, bringing a fan with me. That was probably why I didn't even pay attention to the fan. I just figured he liked to stay cool at night, but maybe that's why.
It's just that low noise. What's the word for low noise?
Oh, well, it'd be like kind of like an ambient sound, or like
that's what I mean. Yep, ambient sound, and it worked great.
Yeah. So anyway, without further ado, my week was partially in Missouri, and of course, you guys saw last week that I was in Missouri for teaching, and of course with Vic. But preceding that week, I was in Shell Knob, which is called Shell Knob apparently because knobs are I think it's a Scottish. Someone correct me in the fact check me here, but I think it's a Scottish way of saying, or an Irish way of saying mountain. And because Shell Knob is mountainous, you're in the Ozarks, there are lots of hills. And apparently they found shells on these hills. And so Shell Knob, there you go. Beautiful little area. Kind of an eerie strangeness though. Like the whole vibe out there is, you wonder if any of these blown up. I'm used to that, right? I live in Detroit. Like I had a studio in Detroit proper for a while, and this is a different kind. The Southern decay is a little different. It's like they could get away with a lot out there, so
I have no idea what you're talking about. What do you mean?
Really?
Yeah, well, like, what do you mean by that?
Well, okay, so I think maybe I've read too many Southern Gothic short stories from Flannery O'Connor, but they always end in someone dying in a strange way. And the South has this sort of contrasting beauty, right? When you're in Detroit, it's all chaos, it's blown out in a lot of the kind of suburban areas. But in the country, there's like holes in the not necessarily in Shell Knob, but driving through Missouri, we saw some strange towns where you'd have a hole in the door, and people were just living in the house with what looks like a gunshot hole through the door.
Oh, right? Just like a sketchy neighborhood.
Neighborhood.
Okay.
Yeah, and I mean, just things run down. Some cities, just people never got out of the city. It's run down. Now, Shell Knob is not that way at all. Shell Knob is very cute. It's very quaint. It's beautiful. But some of the surrounding areas are very, very much like that. So I digress. My point is, it was kind of an interesting culture there. So a lot different than what I'm used to. But yeah, so went from Shell Knob to Springfield. So back in Shell Knob, I taught a 3-day. Springfield, I taught a 5-day workshop, kind of a smaller class. And then the last workshop was just a 2-day. And that was in Pleasant Hill, a really great place. If you're near Missouri, in Missouri, it's called the Knot Hole. And that is a fantastic place. All the people that hosted me, Mike, the guy who hosted me at Shell Knob, was an incredibly kind dude, awesome host. John Engler, great carver, hosted us in Springfield. And yeah, we had fantastic people. Andy and Joyce hosted us there at Pleasant Hill, but we did have a few nights where we had to stay at an Airbnb, and we pulled in to our Airbnb, and of course Doug's laughing because I FaceTimed him. But so this, Doug, partial story, but I pulled into this Airbnb with Marco, who I'm gonna throw him under the bus again. He picked out the Airbnb after I told him not this house because this house has no reviews, right? Amongst a sea of other houses that are $10, $20 more, but have 50 reviews. They're 5 stars.
Yeah.
Pull in, this can't be the right place. Marco goes, it's the right address. I'm like, there's no way. So I drive away. As I'm driving away, he says, just turn back around. I'll go in there. I'll knock on the door. Turn around, go up to the door. He knocks on the door. I'm waiting with my car running. That's how creepy this house was. I mean, there are bicycles. There's exercise equipment. There's trash strewn across the lawn. There's mail piled up at the front door like the guy hadn't gotten out of bed in 10 years. And so he's knocking the door. No one answers. He's sitting there. He's about to walk back to the car when an old man, maybe 5'1", 5'2", walks around with a train conductor's hat on. With kind of a swinging voice, like, hey, how you guys doing? And we were like, whoa, it creeped us out. He had a light fixture in his hand. He was like, you guys here for the Airbnb? And he said, yeah. All right, well, come on in. So he walks us through, open the door. The carpet's the first thing I noticed. I look down, it's black. It was once white. Carpet is black from mold and dirt. It hasn't been vacuumed. My second train of thought was, why are there bolts all over the couch? There's a toolbox. It looks like someone had emptied their grandpa's mismatched, like scrap drawer toolbox all over the couch. It smells. It reeks. I don't know what it smells like. Like a dog food's mixed with a bad can of Progresso soup in there. He shows us to our room, which is, by the way, doesn't have a door. He lives in the house, doesn't have a door. It just has a curtain.
Yeah.
He opens the curtain. We peer in, and it's fine enough. But all of a sudden he realized, I got to go get the clothes out of the closet. There's no room in the closet. So he opens the closet, grabs a handful, maybe 30 shirts in one handful of these multicolored performance shirts they're not like everyday flannels and shirts like we're wearing. They're like reflective, shimmering 60s and 50s, 60s shirts. So he's grabbing these things by the handful, throwing them on top of bolts on top of his couch. And just, oh, I'm so sorry. And as he's dragging the clothes out, there's garbage coming from underneath, dragging underneath the clothes from the closet. Oh, I meant to clean that out. I'm so sorry. You know, I'm sorry, guys. I apologize about that. Walk into the kitchen area. He's giving us a tour. I have some bars for you guys. He has like 3 kind of stale oat bars that he got from who I don't know where, whatever used food and stuff, and a couple of water bottles. Takes us to the bathroom. The bathroom has a small radio that's playing while the radio in the kitchen is also playing, while the radio in the living room is also playing, all different stations, mind you. Yeah. There's hair all over the sink.
Oh, that's nice.
Yes. Hair on the floor. The door handle doesn't work in the bathroom. In fact, it started to come off the first time I tried to use the bathroom. Doesn't shut. Door doesn't shut. There's a window in the bathroom. Why is there a window at knee level covered by a plastic tarp? I'll never know, but I peeled back behind it and the glass was broken. And so it was an incredible, incredible place to stay. So I just told Marco, dude, we can't stay here. This is like, I'm all about like, you know, humbling yourself to live in a, you know,
yeah. Oh yeah.
There are definitely bed bugs here. Like I'm itching all night. The best part is I wake up at 4 a.m. first night we stay there to Marco's loud snoring, you know, farting and snoring and all this horrible. I was so mad. I was just punching my pillow. I got up, I ran into the car, took my microfiber fast drying towel that was still slightly damp over my body, and I tried to fall asleep as the sun rose. I couldn't. So I had maybe, you know, 4 or 5 hours of sleep on me. My first day in Springfield, Missouri.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. I'm not that adventurous to even to try one.
Yeah. See why?
I'll just go to the hotel. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, later we got the next day we got a place out in the middle of nowhere back towards Shell Knob that was, I mean, beautiful, you know, 3,000 square foot brick ranch in the middle of the hills of Missouri, beautiful Ozark Mountains, cows, and just an old hobby farm. And awesome, really generous host. We were walking in and we saw some shoes on the ground. She said, "Oh, I'm so sorry about your shoes." And we said, "Ma'am, you don't understand. You know, like so." What a terrible thing. But everything went well. Classes were great. Got to obviously interview the great Vic Hood. But what was just as fun as that was being his neighbor. He's the coolest. He's such a fun guy. Just a generous dude. Whenever our class was bored or wanted to take a break, we just do this and look at his class. He was right next to us, and you could hear him lecturing everyone. And we just put our hands in our faces and just. His stories are awesome. His feedback is awesome. He's kind of heavier on the design side than I am in my class. So he's talking about how like you can if you turn the head and give it a little bit more dynamic, talking about expression. And so that was real. I learned a lot, and I struggled not to just copy. He had so many great ideas, like taking the carvings outside in the new light so that you can see the form in a new way from the lighting inside. And I couldn't just like, okay, everybody, we're going to go outside, just look over at him across the patio with all of our students doing the same thing, Let's all take our carvings outside now. It seems like a good idea. Yeah.
All the cool kids are doing it. Yeah,
exactly. So, but he's awesome. He was just getting dinner with him and all the guys. Josh Googie, who's a fantastic. If you haven't checked out Josh Googie, I'm sure everyone already knows who he is, but I stayed with him at John's house, and he's the best bird carver in the world. Many times over, he's won these international competitions. But
spell Googie.
It's a Guge.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So I always thought that he was kind of a stoic man, but he has a funny bone, and he's quick-witted, and I mean, quick to jump to criticize in the funniest of ways. I mean, he's a great guy to hang around. But one thing I thought was John kept telling us, you can stay with us, but it's haunted. The house is haunted. You'll hear knocks. And woke up the first night, spending the night. Marco said, I put the toilet paper. His bathroom was connected to his bedroom with one door locked. He said, before I went to bed, I put the toilet paper on the right way because it was on backwards. And I woke up in the morning and it was back.
Well, hang on.
Yeah.
Stop right there.
Yeah.
What is the right way?
This is controversial. When the toilet paper is up against the wall and you have to like put your hand against the wall to like pull it down.
Yes.
That's what he considers and I consider the wrong way.
See, I consider that the right way because it's more aesthetically pleasing.
Really?
Yes.
Interesting. Well, if you look up the original toilet paper patent, it is that way. It is the facing forward away from the wall. So Marcos was feeling OCD about it. So he turned it around, right?
Yeah.
Went to bed, woke up the next morning. He looked at me with a cold look that I knew was not a joke. He said the toilet paper was turned back around overnight, the wrong way again. And I was like, you're joshing me. I am not kidding. Like, no, you're just teasing, bro, aren't you? Like,
well, who's the OCD one now? The ghost or the Marco?
I don't even believe in ghosts, but
no, I don't either, but that's a fun story. Oh.
But no other real mishaps except for driving home. Really the whole trip, my car was kind of shaking. And, one of the guys was like, man, what do you think of that Honda Element? What do you think? You like that car? I'm like, it's a great car, but it's not comfortable thinking about the shaking all the way there and back, the broken exhaust, etc. We're driving on the freeway, probably 8 hours, 7 hours south of home. And all of a sudden my car shaking violently, just starts. And then I pull over, I look at my front left wheel and there's only 3 nuts on the wheel out of 5. So I grab my wrench out of the, but we start unloading. There's piles and piles. You can imagine teaching 3 workshops, piles and piles of teaching equipment and wood and everything. Get it all out, get the wrench out. I go to tighten the 3rd nut that's almost off. I can tighten it with my finger and it breaks the stud off. So now I've got 2, which just happens to be the right amount to have to get towed, according to my dad. Basically we're sitting there waiting for a tow to come. We finally get our tow, take us in to the nearest shop. And I call my dad, I explain to him what's going on. I tell him, Dad, we're going to be here for 2 weeks. Every shop that we could contact said that there's a 2-week wait time. He's like, wow, you're kidding. I'm like, yes, literally every shop that we've talked to said it's going to take them 2 weeks to get the parts, 2 weeks to have an availability because they're so short on workers right now with the way everything is finding mechanics. And he said, well, I mean, I guess at least at least you're not trapped there. I mean, man, I'm like, no, I'm just playing, Dad. They said they'd take us in an hour. Like, I did that to a few other people. We were bored. We had 45 minutes to wait. So I called everyone I knew and lied and told them we were there for 2 weeks, including my girlfriend. I think maybe I didn't tell her, but everyone else. Yeah. So turns out they could replace the studs. They could replace the studs on the 2003 Element. And they told us that they'd take us at 3. They had the car fixed by 2:55 and on the road. So
wow,
we got lucky.
How does that happen?
Do you want to know the story that I didn't want to tell anyone?
Well, you might as well.
Can you guess who was in charge of tightening the studs back up when we did our maintenance on the car before I left?
No. Let me guess. You had the wrench in your hand and a squirrel ran by and you went chased after a squirrel. Squirrel!
What happened was my dad handed me the torque wrench.
Yeah.
He said, go tighten that wheel. Put the wheel on. I tightened it, did the star pattern, got it all right, nice and tight, whatever it was, 80 pounds, whatever, 100 pounds of pressure. Feel that satisfying click of the torque wrench. And then I set the thing down. He puts the other wheel on, and I don't have any memory of tightening the other wheel. And we left. I just figured maybe he got it. neither of us tightened it. So I forgot to tighten the other wheel is what happened. And it just flew right off the car, basically. I mean, it was a
And
pain.
you drove you made it one way, like 800 miles or whatever.
Well, yeah, so 14 hours plus 7 hours. What is that? 21 hours. I drove 21 hours on loose bolts that were the whole time the car was wobbling.
Well, you don't believe in ghosts, but hopefully you believe in angels because
I do. I was praising God at that point, that's for sure.
oh my goodness, that's crazy. Now
you sold off,
you sold the one of your seminars short because all those people that you mentioned, and then you showed me some rough outs, and I said, what did I say? Chris Hammock?
Yeah.
Like in my world, he's like way up there.
Yeah.
And were you not as familiar with him or?
No, well, I've heard his name a whole bunch, but I don't know as far as character carvers where everyone stands. Like,
yeah, no, he's fantastic. Yeah, he's really great.
I know that now. I saw his work and I said, holy cow, dude, you're a beast. You're an animal. I mean, he tells a whole story with the expression of the guy, let alone, the way he carves the surrounding it. It's like,
like you were in amazing company with all those people. That's I still can't imagine how you got there.
No, me either. They were telling me that John
they just had to fill a spot.
Yeah, that's what they said. They got really desperate, and so they were like, "Who do we know that teaches carving that we can sub in for a year?" Alan.
Yeah, Charlie couldn't make it.
Yeah. So,
oh man.
But I'll be there next year, and I had fun. That was cool. When you have a 5-day class, people they're committed. They're into it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Into
but how fun would it be to do like a 2-day with everybody there?
Yes, that would be awesome.
That would be so enriching just to get a little taste of all the different types of it. And then that'd be so wonderful to find out where you actually belong or where you want to be too, right? Like,
yeah, almost every genre of carving was represented there. And
like
it was so fun. One of the things I did, all the other teachers kept making fun of me because every day I'd take the students around and go on tour, is what I called it. And we'd stop at every station and see the progress that people were making. Because I wanted to be in their classes. I mean, we had Izo Bicic next to us. Becic, rather, is how you say it. He's a Bosnian carver. I mean, crazy cool relief carving. I've talked to you about how one day I want to do like architectural relief. That's all he's done. It like did it in Germany, and he was a prisoner of war, and carved there, kind of like Alexander Grobovetsky, but awesome teacher. So much to see.
Let me show you one thing really quick. I know it's not for audio, but I was in a thrift store the other day and I grabbed this thing for $2. And you talk about relief carving with less than 1/8 of an inch.
Wow, that's cool.
It's this little Chinese kind of a whatever you call it, Chinese, not a gazebo, but
I don't know.
But it's carved. The relief carving is so shallow, and look at the detail.
That's cool.
I just thought it was so amazing.
That's fun. Yeah, that's
$2. But
which reminds me of a really funny meme that I don't know if somebody sent it to me, but I shared it on my Instagram, and it says, the meme says how to succeed as an artist, and there's a picture of a guy holding a piece of carving a face out of a block of wood, and it says step 1, have rich parents.
That's great. Yeah. Well, it must be nice to be home again, back into the swing of things. Or if you're back, are you back yet in the swing of things, or are you still recuperating?
Well, a little bit of both. I mean, I came home yesterday, 1:30, and the next day I slept in. I came in the shop and I just swept up and started getting things back in order, and just responded to emails and students, things I missed over the last 2 weeks. And I'm still catching up. I mean, saw my girlfriend this morning. We worked out together, and then it's just it's been just trying to get everything back the way it was before I left, as far as like emails and work stuff. But
So how long do you have anything else lined up this year?
yeah, I do. I think I might have to make a couple of cancellations because a few of the events are bad times at bad times of the year, and but yeah, I've got quite a bit of traveling on my plate. Actually, a lot more than I realized. I kept booking things, not realizing, I'll be gone for 2 weeks at a time one day, and then home for a couple of weeks, and then back out for 2 weeks again. And it's like that's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna have to unfortunately pare some things down, and I'll explain that later. But yeah, it's good though. Yeah, I think what I've learned is I don't want to go out for more than like a week and a half. That's all.
I went away for a weekend and I played catch up for the week after.
Yeah,
that was a weekend. It wasn't even the weekday.
Yeah.
No, it's crazy. But,
what have you been up to? What's new in your world?
well, nothing like yours, but I don't know. It's been fairly busy. Well, it has been busy, but I went to a proper hockey game.
Oh, you rascal!
That's right. So really quick, it was the OHL, and the London Knights played Saginaw, Michigan. So Ontario whooped Michigan, as they should. And what right does Michigan have to be in a Canadian hockey league anyway? Like, what chance? What chance?
You have to admit, of all of the states, we're the most honorary Canadian of all of them, right?
I suppose. Yeah. But no, it was a good game. It was fun. Yeah, but fun. It took me 2.5 periods to remember how to play hockey.
Oh, right.
Watching.
Yeah.
Like watching the dump-ins and the stuff, and I was like, then by the end of the third period, I'm like, oh, okay, now I'm back in, and I could actually watch another game.
Yeah.
Better.
Yeah.
Because I haven't really gone to a hockey game in a decade.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
So I mean, it's not something I do for fun, but we were given these free tickets to really good seats, so I went. But it was fun. It was a good outing.
You didn't invite me, first of all. I don't want to air these personal grievances on the podcast, but I never got an invite.
Well, watching a American get whooped is no,
had you known the outcome, you would have invited me, right?
Yes, I would have, and mocked you mercilessly. But no, it like I said, we just got free tickets. This guy has season tickets and couldn't make it, so we took his tickets, and it was great.
That's awesome.
But did that. I whipped up. It was birthday week. My father and I share the same birthday.
Oh.
And
Doug's birthday.
Yay! So that took up, well, let me start over. So he asked me, he's got the bluebirds down in his garden, and his bluebird boxes were all like starting to fall apart.
Yeah.
So I said, I'll make you bluebird boxes. So I made 4 birdhouses for him. And I wanted to make him a little bit fancy. He's like, no. I want wood on top, no perch, because birds don't even need perches at all. The perches are for you, not for the bird.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but he likes the wood roof. I couldn't put a tin roof. I couldn't do anything fancy, just the basic boxes and that. So I made them and brought him over, gave them to him for his birthday, and set him up. But that led into the weekend where we started this thing during COVID. So instead of having the big family, because our family is with all the kids and the grandkids and everything, it's too big to even fit in a house anymore. Like there's probably 40 of us now. So just the 4 boys, my brothers, we go there and have a little pizza party with my dad. So it's kind of fun.
That was fun.
So he turned 88. So it's kind of cool. So the 4 boys, A, B, C, D, I'm the youngest. And we sit in our seats that we grew up sitting in. It's just funny. It's just fun. So
yeah, that is
like
really funny. And wait, did you just say that your names go in order of age?
Yep. Andy, Brian, Carl, Doug, ABCD. Yep.
They did that on purpose?
I would imagine.
I certainly hope so, because that's a crazy coincidence.
Yep. Yeah, and they gave us all the same letter of middle name too. We're all J's.
No way.
So yeah, very creative. we always talk about
Wait,
Eddie.
wait.
The
Stop.
one.
What is your nick? What is your middle name? Not nickname. Your middle name.
What's your middle name?
Mine starts with a J too.
I'm Jeremy.
Mine's Jacob.
You're Jacob?
Yeah.
Well, here's a quick story. So I'm Douglas Jeremy. My firstborn is Jeremy Douglas.
Really?
And you know what his son's name is?
It's not Douglas Jeremy.
Would
Is
you
it?
think that would be it?
Right.
Grayson.
Oh.
It's like, what? That I set you up for this, and yeah. No, his middle name's Douglas, though, so I'll give him a pass. But yeah. So I forget what I was saying. Oh, so lunch at with Dad and the four boys. But like I said, it was so fun just to sit around the table exactly where we sat, like 40 or 50 years ago. Yeah, you know, because they're still on the same little farm, and awesome. So that was fun. Yeah, but Sophie asked me, "What do you want for your birthday?" And I said, "Well, during this over the weekend." So I started ruminating and carving. I needed another beginner video. Okay, I hadn't done anything. I had that the week before. I was at the yurt, threw out that flex cut video, took it down. Hadn't had anything, so I started thinking Easter. So I started doing these little bunny busts. Like I made a bunch of these just a little basic bunny busts. But then the curse of Pinterest was I think it was a salt and pepper shaker, which was just an egg with bunny ears. And I said, oh, let's make it a real bunny. So anyway, after the weekend, I probably carved 6 of these silly little Easter whittles. The video just came out today. Oh, but it's awesome. I spent the whole weekend carving these things. Cute.
Is it strange that I want to eat them?
A little bit.
Okay.
A little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Okay.
You're weird.
Okay.
But anyway, so every time I do a proper tutorial, I want to carve like half a dozen so that when I do the tutorial, I'm not thinking about nothing. I'm just making it. I know how to make it. I know what I've done it before, and they're simple enough. But here's the funny part was I wasn't going to do it. And Sophie said, "What do you want to do for your birthday?" I said, "You know what I really want? I want the whole day off, and I want to go in my carving room and just be able to carve for me, for nobody else." I had a whole bunch of crazy ideas, probably with Mark, and that's what I wanted for my birthday. Yeah. She goes, "Perfect, whatever you want." So I said, "Okay, that's what we're going to do." And then that night before, I was thinking, "Oh, the YouTube people want a video." And so anyway, I woke up in the morning going, "I'll just make that video really quick, and then I'll do what I want." Right. Then I can carve for me on my birthday. So I'm going to make that video. So this is what my mindset was like. I'm just going to hurry up and make this video. Right. So anyway, I started into this carving, and it's going great. I got the ears, got the body shaped, got the ears. And then I was showing on the ears, you got to cut a little V cut in the ear. And I was saying, well, you can take the V tool. And I reached over and I grabbed this 3/8 V tool. And I was just showing how to carve it because I had been doing the rest with my knife. And I just grabbed this first couple cuts, and I pushed on that thing, and it skipped, and I jammed that V tool so far into my thumb. It's probably an inch into my thumb. Well, I have it on video in 4K, and I pulled it out, and I dropped the tool, and oh man. I said, "This is a problem." So anyway,
what did you do? How did it slip? Did you? Oh.
So I did exactly what I always say not to do. A, I always say, put on your carving glove. Yeah. And I say, B, don't put your hand in line with the tool. So what I did was, here's an ear. I know audio, but I have my thumb here. Yeah. And I'm going in the ear like this. And like I said, carving straight towards my thumb, and I was just doing some little baby cuts. I thought I'm gonna go a little bit deeper, so I put a little more behind it, and it skipped, and it went right an inch up my thumb, in my thumb.
Oh.
So anyway, that was fun. So then I thought, well, I just wasted this video. So no, let's make it a teaching moment. So I said, I'm going to come back and talk about what I just did. So I came back. So I couldn't stop it from bleeding. Like it probably could have took 3 or 4 stitches.
Oh.
So I was like, what am I going to do? Like, and my family's still sound asleep. This is early in the morning. And I like, what am I going to do? I'm holding pressure on my thumb going, I wonder if I can super glue that.
Oh,
But I couldn't do the whole thing at once because, like I said, it's about an inch long V cut up in there. So then I started on the top, and I gobbed some super glue on and took that accelerator spray and sprayed it. Went,
oh no!
And
I thought I warned you about that.
I know. And I had, by the way, this is not a recommendation of what to do when you cut yourself. This is what a fool does. This is a stupid thing to do. Okay. Yeah. But I wanted to make this video. So then I had to go down another 1/8, quarter inch, 3/4, half inch, just a little bit at a time. And each time I sprayed that stuff, it's like spraying poison into your wound.
Well, can I just say too, that when you spray the accelerator on your finger, this is a word of caution for people. If you didn't already say it enough, it creates a chemical reaction. And at least the stuff that I use, it gets either really, I can't tell if it's really cold or really hot, but it burns.
It burns. It
burns worse than the cut does.
You're probably totally poisoning yourself.
Right.
But I had a YouTube video to make. So anyway, I did that. I did that, and then I taped it all up, and I came back on and did a little blurb about safety and explain how I did it and what I shouldn't have done. Because, like I said, I had been using a knife. I only grabbed the V tool just to show them quick.
Yeah.
Anyway, so then I start carving again. Well, at this point, it opened up on the top now. And the pressure when you're squeezing a piece of wood like that and you're cutting. Yeah. So each time I would squeeze it, I was spurting blood all over this piece of white basswood. I'm like, this is
like a gothic horror. It's like a horror movie.
This is not what a beginner wants to see.
You're gonna have to start a new like genre of wood carving horror.
It was just ridiculous. So then I totally stopped, threw the wood in the garbage, and then I glued it again, taped the snot of it, put my carving glove over, and it said, I will mention it, but I won't do it, So then, again, halfway through the carving, and this is my birthday, and I'm in a hurry. I even said in the video, I'm like, I'm going to rush this because I know that you only have an attention span of 9 minutes because that's what the analytics tell me. So I'm going to rush. You take your time. I'm going to rush, and that was my mistake. Of course, I'm in a hurry. My mindset's not there. I'm not in the mood. I just want to do, all I wanted to do was carve myself something, but I wanted to get that video out.
Yeah.
So then I taped it all up again, put the carving glove on, started from scratch now.
Yep.
And within like 8 minutes, the whole thumb of the glove was all blood, and I'm putting these red bloody fingerprints all over this, and I just stopped. I said, I'm done. I'm out. So I had to wait. I just did it last night, so I had to wait 2 days before I could squeeze a piece of wood again. And I probably still shouldn't have been doing it, but yeah, it's funny. I said in the video, I didn't acknowledge it other than I had a Band-Aid on and a thumb guard on the video. I said, I'm going to tell the story on the podcast. So if you've come for the story, I hope it was worth your while. But yeah, it was just it was a good lesson because I was not in the mood.
Yeah.
I didn't want to do it. I was doing it out of guilt because I had been like 10 days without a video. Yeah. People are always harassing me to give them a video, and I wanted to do a beginner, get something out for Easter, give them time. And I just rushed it. And like I said, just reached over, grabbed the V tool, and did the ear, and then stuck it right in my thumb because I had been using a knife. So that's that story. But yeah, it's still a disaster.
Yeah, it probably hurts.
But I have found since then steri strips. Do you know what a steri strip is?
Yeah, I've heard about those.
Fantastic. I got to buy a whole bunch more. They were just in this little kit, but they're little strips, and they basically just pull my thumb back together. I put 3 of these steri strips across, and it holds it together. And then I still put the Band-Aid on it. That's seems to be holding so far. So that's good. That's good. But Sophie's like, you have to go get stitches. And I'm like, I ain't gonna go spend half my birthday in the hospital.
In the hospital? Yeah.
In the hospital.
Well, yeah, I mean, gosh, that's right on the fence for me. I probably wouldn't have either. I'd probably try to super glue it, even though.
Yeah, but please, people, don't do what I did. That was just absolute foolishness. But anyway, makes for a good story. The stupidest things make the best stories. So there you go.
Yeah, kind of like not tightening your lug nuts.
Right? Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Is it time?
Mailbag.
Oh, I wasn't even there. Mailbag.
Mailbag. All right.
We got a good group of mail this week.
Yeah. Well, we left some from last week, right? Or did we not?
No, we didn't. No.
We got that many emails?
Yep.
Holy wow. I'm looking through these thinking this is like 2 weeks worth.
No, they're not all questions though. So
true. All right. Well, here's a good one from Jerome. Jerome, maybe.
Okay.
How did the hipster burn his mouth?
Oh, I do know this one. Yes.
Yeah.
Say it.
He drank coffee before it was cool.
Yeah, that's right.
I really like that one. That's probably one of my favorite ones.
Well, you would like that.
Yeah. No, fair enough. I would like to have a go at some wood spirits. Should I crack on now while the wood is green now, or should I store them in the shed for a bit? He has some log branches, 5 to 6 inch wide log branches. He wants to know if you should carve them green. Thoughts?
Depends what kind of wood they are. What's that?
That's also true. That's very true. Yep.
Like if it's some hardwood that's only going to get harder, you may want to.
Right.
Carve them early green, I mean, is what I'm saying.
Yep.
But I don't think storing it's not bad if you know you can carve it later. But like I said, if it's only going to get harder, and it's a hardwood, if we don't know what kind of wood it is, but like a birch is okay to carve dry, but like the maples get hard. Eh? Yeah, some maple gets really hard.
Maple's nice to carve green, but yeah, that's true. Some woods crack more too. Like
that's true. Yeah. I know willow. Yeah, willow is a terrible one for cracking.
Yeah, so figure out what species they are, and if it's a cedar, it's fine to carve. You can carve it wet or dry. Either way, it's going to stay stable. Basswood can check. I'd probably just let it dry because it's still going to be soft when it's dry.
Yeah. One thing that we saw last week, you showed when Vic was showing his class there, how the guy put a plastic bag over it so it didn't dry too quick. So if you do carve it green and it's really green, you may want to just kind of keep something on it just to slow down the drying so it'll dry more evenly. Because when you take a wood spirit out of the bark is still there probably, except for where you put that face. So you just opened up a fresh wound, and that's where the air is going to get to. The bark is still protecting the rest of it, right? So,
Jimmy says, what did the Dorito farmer?
We're getting all these jokes now. This is
what did the Dorito farmer say to the Dorito former? What? Oh, spelled farmer wrong.
Okay, you better start all over. Your presentation.
What did the Dorito farmer say to the other Dorito farmer? Hey, Cool Ranch.
We don't even have to read all the jokes.
All right. These questions are, I think we've already answered them. Alec, any idea when the tools will be available? Whenever they are, I'll let everyone know. You'll see on the site. I mean, it could be a couple of months. It's just been slow to get them in. I'll get a hold of the distributor here soon. He said he'd let me know, but I haven't gotten word. So, Doug, what carving tools do you take with you on camping trips?
Well, in the past, I've loaded up a whole tool roll, but I did purchase this flex cut system that I took to the yurt on the last trip, and it worked great.
Yeah.
But it depends. I usually have an idea in my mind what I'm going to do. If I'm looking for a natural piece of wood or whatever, I'm going to want the gouges and bead tools. But if it's somewhere that I'm just going to be sitting and I just bring basswood, I'll just bring a knife.
Yeah.
But
okay, Rob's got one. I would like to answer this, but we've already answered it. So let's see. Okay, here's one that he didn't ask. Are there that haven't been asked already? Are there guidelines for how gouges should be used in applications? For me, not really. I think, okay, so it goes on to say in regards to carving, as in a number 9 is good for eye sockets, or is it just you figure it out as you go along? That's what it is for me. What about you?
yeah, well, he nailed the eye sockets. To me, an 8 or 9 is the perfect eye socket.
Yep.
But yeah, you just kind of figure it out. It just comes to you. Like you'll know what tool to use at the time. But yeah, like I said, the 9 all day long for eye sockets.
Well, truly, not to me, the most useful ones are 9s and 3s, because 9s, 3s, and veiners are the ones that I probably use most often.
Yeah.
Because you get a big 9, it's going to act as like a 7, because it's so big that the curve is not quite as much on just one part of it. So.
Well, we keep talking about minimalist tools as we continually get more tools.
Yeah.
But the truth is, like you said, like a 9, you can use the side of it as a 3 almost, or even a V tool. A V tool has a plain edge on the one side of the V, so it's you'll figure it out.
Yeah,
there's no rules or whatever. Like I always have to go back and tell a story about being in Africa, watching this guy carving a giraffe with this adze, which is basically a sideways hatchet head on the end of a handle.
Yeah,
and he was and he did the whole thing with this adze. And
you don't need a lot to.
You don't need a lot. You'll figure it out.
Casey asks, Alec, how long have you been playing guitar, and who's your favorite guitarist? I've been playing guitar since age 16, and my favorite guitarist, I would have to say, it's kind of tough. I think Blake Mills. He's the most interesting guitarist. I also like Ariel Posen, Ariel. He's a man, and his last name is Posen. And Doug, any tips for someone wanting to get into bushcraft with zero experience?
Oh, that's a different one. Well, I tell you, what's helped a lot of people is joining a forum, joining Bushcraft USA. Yep. They have what is called Bush Class for Bushcraft USA for people getting started, and they'll have little simple challenges. They'll give a lesson, and then the challenge is for you to do it, and you actually get to keep score. It's all free.
That's cool,
and it's cool, and they'll bring you up. They'll bring you up to an advanced level. So that would be my recommendation. Just go on something like Bushcraft USA and search for a bush class, and they'll teach you all kinds of stuff.
TW Jenkins asks, you mentioned you never gob antiquing medium onto your carvings. What caused you to change your mind?
Oh, that's for me again. Well, when I started carving, I didn't know what I was doing. And I would paint my carvings solid color, and I would just use this antiquing medium and just paint the whole thing like chocolate, and then wipe it off. What changed my mind was it just looked dirty.
Yep.
And I wasn't sealing them, so you can still do that, but I hadn't been I didn't seal the after I painted, so the wood would, like, the flesh colored face would turn brown, like it just looked dirty. And there's nothing wrong with antiquing used properly, but to just gob it on the whole thing like a chocolate bunny, that's what it looks like.
Right.
It's too much. It's too much. But like a little bit in the beard, a little bit in the creases or whatever, but you have to seal the wood before you do it. Otherwise, it's just going to be absorbed the way that I paint, right? Because I paint with a very light wash now instead of a solid paint. I want to see the grain. So that's why I changed. And it's just I've just kind of grown up and learning a little bit, and by learning from other people is why I'm changing. Right. From what others have taught me how to paint better. Better in my opinion.
He also asked, for me, he asked a question about the eye socket and the mound, trying to understand how the indentation and protrusion can coexist in the same space. Are there any rules here that can be helpful? The way I would like to explain it is, if you were to take an M&M, you wanted to carve a still life of an M&M in a bowl, right? So you've got an M&M at the bottom of your cereal bowl. Well, you'd have to carve down to get to the M&M. But then once you got to the M&M, you'd carve a little round M&M. And that's how those two shapes can coexist at the same time. You had to dig in to get to the ball, which is the M&M, or the whatever that spherical shape is. But once you got there, then you carved it round. So the hollow of the eye socket is indeed a hollow. The eyeball is set in there. So you have to bring all this stuff back to get the mound to get the protrusion of the forehead, to get the eye socket and all this stuff surrounding it. But once you get to the eye level, which is a considerable way back, you can start to carve the mound or the M&M at the bottom of the bowl. So it's not that both coexist. It's just that one has to be done before the other can be done. Does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense. And you can learn things like that if you join the Fundamentals of Wood Carving School. And if you use the code LINKER.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, actually, you can do that.
No, don't do that. Don't do that.
It's a real thing, actually. We created that. So, but
no, absolutely not available for this. Yeah. But, that was funny. That was a joke. But yeah. No, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
And I don't know why you want to use M&M. You gotta get right to the very bottom of the bowl to get a little M&M. Like I would have said yo-yo or
Well, I thought of an egg first, but then I was like, well, it'd have to be a deep bowl, because what if the egg sits higher up?
Right.
Anyway. So
that can't be it.
That's it. Well,
that can't be it. There's no way that's it. Nope.
Well, it isn't it, but it is all of the questions. There's a lot of other comments, tons of comments. Is he satisfied?
Okay. Well, if that's true, because I'm going to delete them all, and hopefully no one's lost lost their question.
Media.
Hey, we should start a new segment. We should call it Strange Facts of the Day.
You got a strange fact?
I have a strange fact.
Let's hear it.
I get pretty deep into researching stuff, and I'm really quite intellectual, and don't smile.
I'm not. You smiled first.
Well, in my deep studies today, I was looking into the origins of Humpty Dumpty. I hope you spit that on your computer. I learned today that, by the way, please, nobody go carve a Humpty Dumpty. That's going to be my thing. But I was researching Humpty Dumpties, and I was learning that Humpty Dumpty was never an egg, was never meant to be an egg. Huh. The Humpty Dumpty became an egg when I forget his name, the illustrator from Alice in Wonderland illustrated him as an egg.
Really?
But the roots of it, like this is like 1600s or something. It was like they say it was a cannon. There was a cannon on a wall,
Like a
and
ball?
they called it Humpty.
Weird.
Yeah. So I came home with this great found knowledge and told my wife. And then she started going on and telling me all about all these other nursery rhymes, how the ring around the rosy is about the Black Plague. And
Yep.
there's so many dark stories with all these nursery rhymes that we grew up with. And like, oh man. But anyway, strange fact of the day.
Speaking of nursery rhymes, my featured artist of it's going to be Chris Wilson of Wildlife Sculpture. Have you seen him before?
No.
He is, I'm convinced, one of my favorite wildlife carvers, because look at the kind of thing that he'll do. Piece of cottonwood bark, and at the end of it is this perfectly realistic bluebird.
Oh wow.
So
That's cool.
he characteristic of his carvings, he leaves, like, not in all of them, but in a lot of them, he'll like leave the log as a part of like one end of the bird, and then it's so cool.
Spell his name out for me.
Chris Wilson. Wilson, like Wilson.
Yeah, I figured that out.
Yeah. So yeah. Anyway.
So these are things that kind of stuff is what occupies my brain.
Yes.
And how I want to do things like this.
Isn't that cool? He leaves
the cool.
out as part of it and then finishes one half of it.
Nope. Love that.
Oh,
that's awesome.
He's the coolest. Anyway, so check him out.
And we can. Where is he at? That's Instagram.
That's Instagram. If you're on, I don't know if he's on Facebook, but you can check him out. www.wilsonwildlifesculpture.com. That's
fun. That's really fun.
Like
I'm not even joking. I think of things like that all the time
really?
About like just not making wood spirits on the flat. Like I want to do different things and incorporate them in different ways. That's cool.
Totally. Yeah.
My media for the week is our old pal Gene Messer.
Really?
Gene has been on a tear lately, and I so appreciate what he's doing because he has made, I don't remember, 3 videos maybe on YouTube wood carvers to watch.
Oh,
he's made 2 videos on where to buy basswood.
Oh,
these are questions that I'm just constantly getting. Where do you get your basswood? So he's got like 2 videos of all the suppliers of basswood, and today he just came out with where to buy all your tools and stuff, which I haven't watched yet. I just saw it popped up. But Gene's the man, and man, I'm gonna tell people, go watch his videos because I'm so tired of saying where I buy my stuff and listening to people say, well, I buy my wood on eBay and it's hard as a rock. Well, look for a quality supplier, right? So
no, it's great to have someone do the work for you.
Yeah. Sounds like you're winding down.
This is how I get Doug to stop.
Oh, that's fair. Well, folks, that's a wrap for episode number 28.
That was fun. Take your vitamin.
Good one. I feel like I talked a lot, but can never keep up with Alex. So see you next week.
True. Very true. See you
next week, everybody.